Well, much anticipated. I cannot tell you how many calls that I got, people asking me, is it true? Is Larry Reid coming on your show? And I said, yeah. And, you know, if they're calling me, I don't have strange people calling me. So these are people who are calling me who are manning large pulpits and what have you and so on and so forth like that. And so people say, well, we watching tonight because we need to see what's going on. And I'm so happy that you watch. Larry might say something to get on some of y'all's nerves. And if it gets on your nerves that bad, I might even open up the lines where you can talk to him and get things straight. But he's with Bishop George Bloomer on tonight. Man of God, how you doing? He said, you notice I didn't know how to do the handshake. Oh, you didn't? No. Yeah. I was like, what in the world? Let's do a sanctified one. There you go. All right, no, I'm joking. It's good to have you here with us, with us tonight. Let me start off by asking you, why are so many people concerned about you being here on the show with me tonight?
Well, it's because I create a conversation, and they don't know what conversation that I'm going to have about what they have going on. A lot of people think that I create the news or I do some kind of digging, but the reality is that I just pay attention to what's happening in our world. I stay plugged into CNN, I stay plugged into social media, all platforms, and I listen to the language, I listen to the conversation, and then I try to create conversation where there's little conversation. And sometimes that includes some of our colleagues.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It does.
Well, you know, I'm in the literary market.
Okay.
And so I have connected with a lot of people and stuff like that. And so I know one of your secrets. I know that you're getting ready to do another one of these. I know you're getting ready to do another book.
Yeah, another book.
Released. Yeah. And later on, we'll talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
And are people going to be happy when this book comes out?
I think they're going to be happy when it comes out. It may be a little uncomfortable because one of the things that we have a language barrier in the church.
Yeah.
We have a language barrier in our world. And a lot of companies are starting to plug into Twitter, into social media, Facebook, and beginning to pay attention to exactly what people are interested in, how they're communicating. And one of the things that the church has not done, they have not been paying attention to the language of our culture and how to relay that message. One of the things God told me one day, I was driving down the road, he said, I look to the left, look to the right, so there's Golden Bridge. And I said, what is this? I'm saying, it was so strong in my eye, I couldn't see the road. So I slowed down. And he said, that bridge is you. You're a bridge between the sacred and the secular. Teach them how to speak to each other.
Wow.
And so when you begin to talk about language earlier today, it was very impactful to me because I don't think a lot of people know how, especially in the church, know how to talk to people that do not come from that background. Mm-hmm. I done an interview last night with a very prominent pastor, prominent preacher. And one of the things when I was talking to him, he started reading the comments. I said, stay out the comments, just have your conversation. And I will leave the conversation because a lot of church people, bishops and preachers and prophets do not know how to talk to people that do not come from the world that they come from.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think one of my callings as that bridge, you know, as a prophet in the church who has expanded now into the marketplace, is to teach the minister how to speak to the markets, the different markets, and how to develop the language and to use the communication skills. And it will really be it's such a great evangelism tool. And another thing is to be transparent.
Yeah.
And to tell the truth when you get it wrong. If you got it wrong, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is forgiving.
Yeah.
Everybody is forgiving. Mm-hmm. But when you act like you ain't did something and you did it, then there's a problem. And don't nobody want to hear nothing you got to say.
Right. You know, so you started off as what? You didn't start off as...
I started as a prophet musician, then I began to pastor, and I've done it for 20 years. As a prophet, as a musician or organist.
Prophet and musician or organist,
yeah. Choir director, you know, I've done that at my bishop's church. Yeah. God bless, you know, my bishop, he's dead now, Bishop L. Stevenson, Elm Grove Church.
Yes.
And I was there, and that's where my ministry was birthed out of.
Yeah.
And I'd done that until I started pastoring, and I pastored for 20 years, but about the last 6 or 7 years, I began to do gospel music. And the last CD I done went all the way to the Stellars. I'm a Stellar Award nominated artist. A single went to the top of the chart, sales chart. And then I began to focus on social media.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And before I walked away from pastoring, and I only walked away from pastoring, I didn't walk away from Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, I only walked away from pastoring.
So you still know Jesus?
What you talking about?
Well, I'm just asking.
Lord, yes, sir. I know. So I began to expand.
If you don't know, you ask about it.
I know that's right. So I began to expand beyond the church, and I began to pay attention to social media. And I just began to talk about anything that happened. Yeah, we know a lot of Leandra Johnson, the whole thing that happened with her, the whole thing with Brian Carn, everything that began to transpire. I just talked about it in the camera. And when I did, the followers and the communication, the engagement, I had to learn a lot.
You know, I feel that those are amazing people.
Yeah, they are.
I feel that Leandra, I think that she's one of the most misunderstood persons on the planet. And Brian Carnes, I feel that he's one of the most gifted young men around. Guy. And things happen, and I want to be one of those. My people come from the West Indies, so that would make me a Jamaican.
You know, I didn't know that. I just learned that. I didn't know that.
When did you just learn it?
I mean, like in the conference, when I went to your conference, the Intel conference.
Okay,
you
so
said it on the stage.
Yeah,
no, but I heard it when you were talking. I said I didn't know that, which makes sense. This whole demon thing. Yeah, you know, the juju man, the abwa man. You know, I said, okay, I got it now. And a lot of that you were saying, a lot of that you were saying a few minutes ago about about cutting yourself. That is crazy. You'll never end up on Larry Lack. All your business already out there now. There ain't nothing to talk about.
You know, here's the deal. Here's the deal. When you control your own story,
true.
Why tell it? If I did it, I did it. If I didn't do it, I didn't do it.
But why these preachers don't want to get on my show and talk to me? Because when you talk out of your mouth and you get ahead of the story, that's it.
Well, let me tell you something about all this is going on and stuff like that. Because some people are afraid of you and stuff like that. I know how to shut you down.
Okay, now
I know how to shut your behind down. I can shut you down.
I'm gonna listen to this before I just flip.
Oh, you gonna listen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because before you flip.
Before I flip.
I bring that demon up, and if you come up, I'm casting him out tonight.
I'm gonna say no.
But I know how to shut you down.
All right, tell me.
Today. All the people that are doing what they're doing, just stop.
I know that's right. If they stop,
you would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is what I believe.
But you know what? That means you're going to be in business a long time. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they ain't going to stop.
But you know, I wish they would. Let me tell you, I really wish they would. Because it don't make no sense that as leaders and people who are in the forefront of morality, being fathers and mothers for people, you know, who have a breakdown in their family. The last thing that needs to happen to someone is that the person that they trust betray that trust and then don't say nothing about it. Won't give no explanation. That injury, they call it church hurt, and that injury is so severe to the soul.
I call church hurt fake.
Okay, explain
church
that.
hurt's fake news.
What you mean by that?
Because people say, you know, the church hurt, something happened in church and stuff like that, and they can't go back to church no more. But they're working on the job.
Oh,
they don't have job hurt. Yeah. They don't have grocery store hurt.
I agree with that.
You're going straight back to the same grocery store that you're going to. Sit in a cube next to a person for 30 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but if the pastor tricked me out of my money like a Memphis couple just recently done, and then take all my grandma's savings.
Wow.
That's real hurt.
That's not church hurt. That's crime.
Yeah, it's a crime. It's a spiritual crime.
And they need to go to jail.
But it's connected to the church. So
yes.
I understand why they say it. I understand why they say it. And I understand what you're saying as well. You know, so I wish that they don't do this stuff. You know, but since they're doing it and we're talking about it anyway, my show is all about having kitchen table talk in front of the entire world. But I'm able to take those moments and seed certain things, and people are listening to what I'm saying. And I only talk about what is public. So if I don't go digging, you know, I don't go looking, I just pay their attention. And when I see it and I start seeing it talked about, I bring it to the platform.
What I've noticed is that there's some people who feel comfortable in talking to you.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the show.
Yeah.
They feel comfortable in talking to you. Why?
Well, it may have something to do with, I think it's just my makeup, you know, because I love people, number one. I'm a lover of people. And then also I had several thousands of hours that's connected to my degree in counseling.
There you go.
So I've been counseling for several years and doing sessions with married couple, with people that are on drugs, people that have been raped, and people that have been molested. I'm a victim of sexual abuse, as well. So having all the degrees and the experience, 20 years pastoring, I just got that thing. And folk will talk to me. I can just walk down literally. A guy was coming to fix my cable in my first home that I bought. And he was a pastor that had got on drugs. He backslid. It was a white man. He came in there from working outside the house, came in there and stayed with me for an hour and told me all his business. And this man was going to commit suicide. And when he spoke to me, he's back pastoring now, actually. I haven't talked to him, since a few years after that. But it's always been like that. And I hope to remain like that.
What keeps Leandra, what keeps a person after going through what she has gone through and have at the hand of the church through social media? There's some that she brought on herself.
Yeah, definitely.
What keeps a person like that from committing suicide?
She hasn't told me this, and I've been able to sit down with her and her husband and talk to them. And I think, as you said, there is something that is in her that's unkillable. It's unkillable. It is as undaunted as a rock. And I think she's one of the most special people that we have in our industry. Not the only, but one of the most special people. And I know that thing, I believe is God. I believe that. So it's just God that is keeping her.
I was at Pilgrim Assemblies.
Okay.
I'm the guest speaker for their National Day of Prayer.
Okay.
The choir is up singing. I cannot come out of the pastor's study because I got there early, and a few minutes into it, I shot up. So I shot up 20 minutes before it was time to preach. And they're knocking on the door saying, come on, it's the next service.
Wow.
And it's amazing to me how that the choir sang another song and God sobered me up enough to minister. 90 people got saved. And when I was coming out of the pulpit, going up, that Haran Drain came back on me, and I could feel it.
The message is why you took so long to tell us about that. Maybe I just didn't hear it.
So long to tell about what do you mean?
Tell that testimony, because I don't know. I don't know. There ain't nobody else that's telling no testimony like that. That's a pastor and that's powerful and that's greatly anointed.
Well, there should, because there's a lot of pastors who are in trouble, and we created a culture now where many of our musicians in the church are playing the music and they high.
Yeah.
In
the studio high. I've seen
right.
That,
we the hookah bars are filled with great men and women of God. Everybody's living their life. I'm just an old sanctified person. Living this life keeps me alive, and I know that if I veer too much over here, that this started for me at Bethel Gospel Tabernacle in New York City. I belong to two churches in New York.
Who's the pastor of that church?
Roderick Caesar, Senior. The son is now the son's son. Third generation is pastor now. And I went to Tabernacle of Prayer. Those are the two churches I went to. It's Apostle Johnny Washington.
Yes, that church in Goldsboro. I raised outside of Goldsboro in Pikeville. I used to go visit there every Sunday night.
Tabernacle of Prayer. He come with the big tent crusade. Right. He's gone home to be with the Lord now.
Yeah.
And I was on with the young people, the youth, and I was supposed to be preaching that night, and I was dating this girl in the church, and I got tired of her. I don't date her no more. So I went to her and I told her that the Lord wanted me to, I wanted to fast and pray, and I want to get away from this relationship, because what we were doing in our relationship.
Y'all were praying, laying hands on each other.
But we weren't sick. Laying hands on each other, but we weren't sick. And so I got sick of laying hands. And so I told her that she went and told one of the mothers in the church, who was one of those flabbergasters, and the mother went and told Bishop. And it's the night of the youth convention. It's packed, and the bishop calls me to the side and he says, they told me what you did and what's going on and so on and so forth like that, and I'm gonna let you speak because we don't want to. But after this 6 months, you're silence. Back in those days, we set you down. You had to confess in front of the whole church. I got up to take my text, and something came over me. When I looked down at that church mother and she's quickening in the Holy Spirit, I was mad as the devil at her. So before I took the text, I said, listen, something I did that was wrong. Me and such person been committing fornication.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, I did the same
We committing fornication.
And a testimony.
We committing fornication, and I want to confess this to you, and I'm going to get this thing right. And then I called out the other 2 girls I was sleeping with. And from that day, in the 80s to right now, I've never been in a situation whereas if it is
like a scandal.
No.
See, that's how I stood up in the church in testimony service, and she was sitting in front of me. Her dad is a pastor. He was up on is it Skinner? I think it was, but he would raise the dead and that kind of stuff. Yeah. My mom was named a prophet and stuff, and I'm, I'm just filled with the Holy Ghost and crazy. And I stand up and I say, oh, Lord, I've been committing fornication. Me and Lisa been having sex, and she's sunk in the sea. So, but you know what? And I think in order for us to deal with and talk with these people who are not familiar with in our world, we're going to have that same transparency. And maybe that is the reason why God have, me sitting here, you sitting there, Dr. Price, who speaks very candidly, here on tonight. And so that we can begin to build that bridge to begin to have the language that we need in order to connect people to our God.
We need to stop calling things what they're not. Because, they kept me on the altar praying for me because, they said I had a fornicating spirit. And I found out there's no such thing as fornicating spirit. You don't need a spirit to commit fornication. You just need a partner who's willing.
That's all you do.
That's the end of that. So, and so we need to really, really deal with the things as they are. And so from that point on, I'm I could see, we have this whole Me Too generation, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. And you got the Supreme Court judge that they put on the on the court.
Kavanaugh.
He could have came out and said, "Listen, I don't remember any of this."
Yeah.
And rightfully so, as you were saying, I was as drunk could be in those days. But from that time to this time, I have nothing that on my record.
Yeah.
I was 16 years old. I did some 16-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
But nobody does that. They start lying and what's going on?
Yeah.
If all of us had to go through age infancy to 19, what we did called the stupid years of growth.
Years. Even as a pastor, I done stupid stuff. I'm so glad the internet was not one of this on today, because had I pastored for 20 years, the first 10 I was stupid. I mean, I just didn't know. And there's some things I preached too quick because I was going through Revelation with it, and that thing still hadn't came. At one time, no women can't preach, and no, you gotta cover your head, and no pork. I went through all of that. All of it. Everything was a demon, and his mama was too.
Yes.
So it just took time. But see, what if I had done that on the internet? And I feel sorry for a lot of these preachers, because some stuff they make the show because it done got in the pulpit and said something crazy, the whole world watching. So now the whole world's talking about it, and they end up on Larry Live.
Wow.
Yeah.
End on Larry Live.
It does.
That's a shameful plug. I rebuke that.
I ain't here for
right
nothing. Larry Live. In Jesus' name.
Yeah. Watch it, right? Watch it. A young lady came who's very, very close to me and close to our ministry, and I wanted to push her out. She was on our roster to minister at the conference. Her name is Sharon Edmondson.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And she so now she set up to do the Intel conference, and we're doing Destiny Image live TV. We're doing Netflix, and all this is going on, and a video she has goes viral. Thanks to somebody.
From my page.
I don't know who did that to her.
Yeah, well, God is just the way he be doing stuff sometimes that I post. He get in it.
And so the company called me and says, what we would like for you to do is remove her from the platform, because that's too much noise to be made, that's being made. And it wasn't just in our community. We're talking about Australia, around the world. So I told him, I said, I can't do that. Oh, no, but if you're going to do it, I said, no, I can't. I can't do that. He said, is this a daughter of yours in ministry? And I said, not really, but I can't do that. I need to talk to her and get an idea of what the whole situation is, and let's fix it, since it's a little clip. And I hung the phone up. He calls me back and he says, Bishop Bloomer, me and the staff, we went over this, and we said, okay, we're going to trust you on this, but I want to say this to you, your stock went up with us. So the Lord was working with me. That's my drug dealer days from the Jews. You don't turn around and just stab somebody for no reason. Figure out what happened. And so I called her. And I said to her, I said, what happened? And she explained to me what happened. But she said it went viral.
Yeah.
And so I called somebody and I said, how does it go viral? Don't nobody know her? And they said, that Larry Reid. You got to block my lips. You got to see my lips. You got that Larry Reid. So how did he do that? He said, well, you know, he got people. Larry got people that once you do it, they send it all the way to India. And India flushes it all the way back to America. They can go viral.
They were just
I said, I got a video I want him to.
No, it's just years of building. What people don't understand is that I was pastoring for 20 years and I won't preaching in one place.
Yes.
I had churches overseas. I ran the road. I cast out demons, done revivals, three books, music everywhere. So that's 20 years of being on the internet since MySpace. So when I share,
Since MySpace.
yeah. So when I share,
MySpace is still in its space.
yeah. So I got people everywhere, and so they look from all over the world, and that pushes up the algorithm. That's a whole nother conversation. We'll get that in the book.
Yeah, so she called me and she was telling me about it, and I said, you know what? Why don't you call Larry? No! I said, don't just call him. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll call him.
Yeah.
I gave you a telephone call, and I want to say to you, your handling of her,
I love
exceptional.
people. But see, I love
Exceptional.
people. There's like two other pastors. I can't say too much. But where things were beginning to happen that would hurt their career. And I partner with them to make sure they don't lose their job and to handle something, because I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I want to create a conversation where there hasn't been a conversation we can't have at church.
It's an amazing thing to see Larry sitting, relaxed and stuff like that, not going off. 855-730-WORD. 855-730-WORD is very, very important. Either we're going to confront things or we're going to run away from them.
Yeah.
And it's now high time that we stop operating with this huge elephant that is inside the room. And that's why I had you to come. And I think a few people who were a little bit nervous and upset and stuff like that is probably enjoying the program right now.
Yeah, and getting a clear understanding of what it is that I'm trying to do. What I want to do is to create the conversation where there has not been a conversation before. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank you. I mean, because you're bold. You're very bold, and I don't think there's any other show I probably could have came on the Word Network except for yours, because you're very open to having certain conversations. And so I hope that the people that are watching, that are supporting and sowing the $88 will continue to sow to support this show, that much. It can stay on and we can see you on Friday night.
Thank you. You know, I had Carlton Pearson at the conference to answer some questions. When I did the interview with Carlton Pearson, TBN and Daystar blackballed me for 3 years for having him on. I had him on the other day, and I was on Daystar today. So the blackball is over.
It's over.
It's over. The thing is that I want people to have people to just talking. Let's hear it from the person what they actually believe. Whoever the Tim guy who said there was no hell. Tim
Rogers.
Tim Rogers,
yeah.
right? Tim Rogers. I'm sorry, Tim Rogers, a young man, nice guy, and stuff like that. Yeah. But nice. And
wait. What is that?
You let things get into your head that you're too young to develop an opinion
I can tell he's
on
still,
something so ancient. As that, but hurt and different things happen. And I sat down with him and he said to me, he says, Bishop, I feel like I'm a son of yours. And I said, great.
He's a nice guy.
Nice person. And that thing happens and we got to get free from that.
Yeah. Now he did say that he was still working with it. Now, but he said this on the panel. I was sitting there watching. I was in that long service.
Nothing to work with when it comes down to hell.
I get what you're saying.
And there's nothing to work with when it comes down to God and the devil being one and the same person. Ain't nothing to work with.
No. Who said that? He didn't say that.
No. That's the conversation.
Oh, okay.
See, it's the whole inclusion conversation.
Okay.
And this is the reason why when the questions was asked there, they keep on rambling around, but they already wrote it in the book. So let's go to written text and deal with you on written text. And they go into this philosophical, intellectual conversation. We don't have to go there.
Well, see, that's the thing that I can't get with if you're going to talk to the world, you got to come out of all of that.
Yeah.
You got to just talk regular. I know some things are education is for the intellectuals and need to be something closed setting. But when you're talking to the masses of the consciousness is never the consciousness of the inner circle. And so you have to speak a different way. Yeah. Your language has to change.
But Carlton said that I asked him a series of questions. One of the questions I asked him, I said, do you believe demons exist? He said, yeah, I cast them out. Well, if you cast out demons, you think that demons are real and they exist, then there would have to be a hell, because hell was prepared for the devil and his angels. And then he said, yeah, and those that want to believe that have premises for it in the Bible, because there is some Bible there. And so, we don't want to just believe it, what have premises in it. What are demons? He said, well, demons is really from the word pneuma, which means breath. Yeah. And they're bad, negative spirits, so like bad breath. Right? What do you do with bad breath? Yeah. And so when it was over, I love Carlton, it was over. He said, you was really carrying us someplace. The issue is this, is that we don't have to go deep into the Bible. There's certain things that is, I hate to say common sense, but there's certain things that are so surface, and that thing hits you, and when it gets you, you sit back and you go crazy.
Well, the issue I had with Tim Rogers talking about the hell thing at a funeral, because you're in a church, and the part of the Christian faith is the whole concept of hell and heaven. So why in the whole hell and the heaven would you preach that in a funeral? I thought it was that wasn't smart. And that's the only thing I said about it.
And why would you preach something that you haven't researched that is going to take food out of your mouth, uproot you from one city to another city, have you living with people because of something you said? We're snared by the words of our own mouth.
That's true.
Yeah.
And at a darn funeral.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Ain't this a nice book sitting right here? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about your book. I saw how nicely you told me to shut up and move on to the next thing. George Bloomer.
But listen, this is a great book.
Yes.
The name of the book, what camera? Who I need to show it to? This one right here. It's called Let the Church Say Change. Now pay attention to how amen is crossed out, because there's some stuff we've been saying amen to, we need to stop saying amen to. We need to say change. And it's forwarded by Dr. Mark Sharona. And it's really for the pastors, because I give 3 approaches, and it really come from that degree I have in counseling. 3 approaches to help people.
So this is not honorary. No honorary. This is not an honorary degree.
My master's I went to Apex School of Theology. I got the debt to prove it.
Well, I'm not accusing you. I'm just asking you.
I was letting people know. It ain't nothing like that. Yeah. But anyway, and so this is from
everything you do is so emphatic, like that. And then say all that kind of foolishness.
Yeah. Okay, so it's called Let the Church Say Change. It's forwarded by Dr. Mark Sharona. And I talk about 3 ways the way you can help for pastors to help their members problem solve. We specialize in a spiritual approach, but then there's also a practical approach, and then also a clinical approach to help people problem solve and find their way back to themselves and back to God. And that's basically what the book is about. And I think it's a great read, and you will enjoy it. In fact, you can have this one.
Your next book that's coming, I saw it on the list. Yeah. It's in one of the publishing houses that one of my books is coming out on. It's entitled What You Say. Yeah. And it's about the
whole language piece, the whole thing that we've been talking about. Yeah. I mean, you talked about the Tower of Babel and the confusion of the language, and then in the upper room where the language came back. And I feel as though that we're in a space now, especially in the church, to where we have to learn, first of all, what we're saying. You go from one channel to the next, from Daystar to Word Network, everybody's saying something different. Yeah. We got to fix that. That's number 1. Number 2, then we got to decide how we're going to communicate this message of Jesus Christ and the good, because what we got the world need. But we're failing in the communication. And the first thing that we have to do in order to communicate with the world, like Daniel did, because that whole model for marketplace anointing, which is another book I'm working on, comes out of Daniel, is that we have to have an exceptional spiritual diet like Daniel did. And if we're going to communicate with the world, we're going to have to communicate as people who are chaste, who are proper, who are loving, who are honest, and who are real, before we can deal in the marketplace. So that book is going to be all about languishing, and we're going to go through social media and we'll talk about how that has affected different countries, different cultures, and how we can communicate our message properly.
I think it's going to be great. 855-730-WORD, 855-730-WORD. Your seed of $88 is going to help. You said I'm doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. Give it 88, everybody. All Larry Live followers.
Yeah, all right. All right. And mark them when they call in.
Say I'm from Larry Live. Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
Amen. I really, really enjoyed this on tonight. Now, give me a little critique over the conference, the Intel conference that you just came out of, my conference that we just had.
First of all, it was a great conference. They always say lead with the positive thing first. It was great.
So lead with the positive thing first, and then it gets negative? Give me my negative first.
Okay, you want negative. Okay, the negative first was,
if I jump off this chair.
Look, the first thing, it was too darn long. I said, what the world?
You don't understand. You don't understand. It's not a church service.
I don't care what it is. I don't want it long.
Yeah,
but it's too darn long.
Yeah.
And that was number one.
Yeah.
But everything else was the bomb. The information that you were given, the way that you conducted the interview, the way that you handled your guests, the way you handled all the people coming in there, it was stellar. Hats off, man. For real.
You'll be back on this show. 855-7. Oh yeah, you said it started late.
Yeah.
What the problem was that you came late like you was early, because I told the people. Let's get you straight. I told the people on Thursday the meeting started 45 minutes because we was just the hotel and getting the lights and everything going, and so I announced at every service that we're 30 minutes behind time. We're going to try to make it up.
I didn't get that message.
Yeah, well, correct that on your website.
Okay.
855-730-WORD. Thank you,
right,
thank you tonight.
So much,
I think this was great.
It was great.
This was great, and me and Larry been friends for years, but I don't know this Larry that we introduced today, because he was a preacher and a pastor and stuff like that. And I want you to hold it in the middle of the road and be there. God has given you an open door to be a prophetic voice in the marketplace, and I know it's going to be a blessing. 855-730-WORD.